Hospitals. Everyone, and welcome to the November 17th, 2025 Eugene City Council public hearing. Thank you for joining us in this hybrid meeting format. Anyone wishing to access the meeting can do so by watching the live stream available on our website, the broadcast on Comcast Channel 21, or by following the instructions listed for this meeting on the public webcast and meetings materials page of the City of Eugene website. There are two public hearings on tonight's agenda. Please note that members of the public who sign up to testify may speak only to the topic that is the subject of the stated public hearing. For those wishing to testify during the public hearing, please fill out a request to speak form available on the city's public webcasts and meetings materials page. These request to speak forms will be used to generate the order of speakers and correctly enter speakers' names into the public record. And we will accept requests to speak forms until 5:35 p.m. As a reminder, council meeting rules of conduct apply to all attendees, both in the chambers and in the lobby outside, and include no flags, signs, loud or disruptive language, noise, or conduct that obstructs the business of the council. Please keep the room quiet and respectful for all speakers, and you are welcome to wave your hands in silent support. Additionally, we encourage all those who are ill or have had close contact with others who are ill to join our meetings remotely rather than in person. We also encourage attendees to spread out within the meeting space and wear a mask if you would feel comfortable doing so. We also have some available in the lobby if you need one. In case of a medical emergency, an automated external defibrillator, an AED, is located on the counter behind staff to your left on the west side of this room. And in case of an emergency evacuation, emergency exits are located through the double doors located at the back of the room or through the double doors located near the front of the room. The doors to the patio can also be used as needed. And with that, I call this meeting to order. The first public hearing on tonight's agenda is a public hearing on an ordinance extending the term of ordinance number 19775 and ordinance number 20397, granting to Comcast of Oregon II Incorporated a franchise for operation of a cable telecommunications system. City Manager, would you please introduce the topic?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This proposed ordinance extends the Comcast cable television franchise agreement until June 30th of 2027. The extension provides Comcast and the city additional time to come to agreement on unresolved issues because of unanticipated delays, including franchise consortium staff changes and scheduling issues impacting progress. All parties, including Comcast, have agreed to an 18-month extension with a commitment to conclude negotiations as soon as possible. This proposed extension ordinance would only extend the term of the current franchise. All other franchise terms and conditions remain the same, including Comcast's obligation to pay franchise fees for use of the public rights-of-way. Thank you.
Thank you. I now open the public hearing. Staff, can you please share a list of speakers on the screen and announce the first speakers?
Thank you, Mayor. We have one speaker signed up, but give me just a moment to get that form in order. Since it's one sign up, I'm not going to put the names on the screen tonight. You will have 2.5 minutes to speak. The timer will flash red when you have 15 seconds remaining to speak. Your microphone will be muted at the 2.5-minute mark. Please note that the use of profanity is prohibited, and any instances of profanity will result in immediate termination of speaking privileges. Our first speaker for this first item tonight is Tim Goodman.
Good evening, Mayor. My name is Tim Goodman. I'm the Senior Director of Government and Regulatory Affairs for Comcast. Haven't been here, I think, since COVID. I recognize a couple of you, but anyway, I'm the person that represents Comcast and oversees our franchise agreement with you all. Just wanted to introduce myself so you know who I am, and so hopefully I'll be back in maybe 5 or 6 months and we'll have this thing done. I will apologize, but I'll blame it on the city of Portland because it took me about 4 years of full-time to get their franchise done, which we did last month, so I can concentrate on this one and a few others. But anyway, just also wanted to say you have a great staff with Jay and Hua, are great to work with. I wanted to compliment you on your staff and looking forward to getting this thing done so we don't have to come back for any more extensions. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you, Tim. Mayor, that's our final speaker for that hearing.
I now close the public hearing. Are there any questions or comments from the City Council? Seeing none, we will move on to our second public hearing this evening. The second public hearing on tonight's agenda is a public hearing on the Transient Lodging Tax Code Amendment. City Manager, would you please introduce the topic?
Yes. In 2022, the City of Eugene transferred the responsibility for collecting transient room tax to the Oregon Department of Revenue. At that time, the city amended several sections of the Eugene Code to align with the Oregon Department of Revenue model ordinance. However, one section that remained unchanged was the requirement for the city to issue certificates of authority to lodging providers upon registration. Although the state now handles tax registrations and collections, the city has continued to issue these certificates because it's still a requirement in the code. The proposed ordinance before you tonight would eliminate this requirement, streamlining the process for both the lodging providers and city staff. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager. I now open the public hearing. Staff, can you please share a list of the speakers on the screen or announce the first speakers?
Thank you, Mayor. There are no speakers for this hearing.
Thank you. Then I now close the public hearing. Are there any questions or comments from City Council here or on Zoom? Councilor Clark.
Thank you, Mayor. City Manager, could you maybe provide a little more detail with regard to the differential between the state statute and our authority that we would be giving up with this? What's the day-to-day working effect? We're not going to be requiring people to register, but do we lose any local control in the process of this change?
Thank you, Councilor Clark, for your question. Neil Obringer, Assistant Finance Director. To your question around the day-to-day operational change, if you were a lodging provider, so thinking about it from that perspective, the day-to-day experience really wouldn't dramatically change. All of the tax remittance currently goes through the state of Oregon. So the process of actually filing your tax remittance initiates your registration with the state of Oregon, and so that's what provides for basically the setup of the account or the registration with the state of Oregon. Right now, the certificate of occupancy doesn't provide any significant value, at least from what I can tell, for the lodging provider or for the city, and so that's why we're choosing to shift this section of the code.
And we're not giving up any regulatory authority of any kind?
No, the regulatory authority, the requirement to remit tax and the fact that the tax is due, that effect is, or that there's no effect to that section of the code. It's really just around the certificate of authority.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other questions or comments from council, then thank you everyone for joining us this evening, and that concludes our agenda for today. I now close the November 17th, 2025 public hearing, and we are adjourned.